Welcome, and today we're going to be talking about the 5 keys to climb out of any metal bracket in Dota 2. Whether you're Herald, going to Guardian, going to Crusader, going to Archon, going to Legend, going to Ancient, going to Divine, or improving in the ranks of Immortal. If you're Immortal, you probably already know all of these, but these tips will definitely help you out. My name is Navitz. I'm representing my esports team, the Sploosh Troop. Let's jump in. So key point number 1 is to decide what roles you're going to play. So obviously in Dota 2, we now have ranked role selection, and there are 5 different roles you can select. You can be hard support, soft support, off lane, mid lane, safe lane. For the best possible results, you want to isolate yourself to either or possibly just one role. So let's say you want to be a hard support, you can choose just to be a hard support. Let's say you want to be a core player, maybe off lane's your thing, maybe you want to be a mid, or maybe you like the safe lane a lot. Whatever you do, focusing on one type of role is really good, or you can just focus on one aspect of the role, so you can be a core or a support. That's how I choose to play. I like to play all the core roles, so I always have all 3 core roles selected. Key number 2 is to have a maximum of 3 heroes you'll play in each position and a minimum of 2. Now, if you're learning the game or if you're just playing to have fun, then you want to play a ton of different heroes. You want to try a bunch of different stuff out. But if you're playing to gain MMR, you want to do something like this. And you'll notice this if you watch some of the Dota Alchemy videos. They break up their hero selections in terms of like the best heroes, the next level best heroes, that like class A, class B, class C. It's pretty awesome. I do something similar for myself, but I just throw heroes that I like into the mix, or heroes that I think I should get good at, which is coming up in the future. But if I take a look in the off lane, I like to play right now Beastmaster, Night Stalker, or Legion Commander. Those would be my 3. In the safe lane, I like Lycan, I like Naga Siren, I like Lone Druid. Now, the cool thing is if you play multiple positions within your core role, or the same goes for the supports, some of them can alternate. So in the mid lane, I also like Naga Siren and Lone Druid. I like Kunkka a lot, and I like Viper, but I don't think that Viper and Kunkka have been doing so well for me, and I'm trying to find a new hero to throw into that meta, and I think it's going to be Puck. And that brings us to tip number 3. You have to add meta heroes to your hero pool. And I made a video on this recently on how to know which heroes are in the meta. You can go to Dota Buff, see which heroes are picked at a high rate in a bracket above yours, and see which ones have a high win percentage. Likely those heroes are the ones that are really strong in the meta at this moment. So the reason that I want to add Puck is because Puck is very strong in multiple lanes and has a few different play styles that it can be played in right now. So Puck is a hero I want to add to my meta pool right now. Tip number 4, and I actually think this one is very, very important. It comes down most games where you end up blaming your teammates. You don't accept the fact that you've done some things wrong. So you should know what your build is and know what your timing is. These are things that you need to prepare for before a game. Like if you have to make your own hero guide, make your own hero guide. If not, go ahead and select another person's hero guide. So I'm going to take a look at one of my most played heroes as of late, who I've been climbing with, and that is my Beastmaster. Now Beastmaster, I have a very simple play style for him. I like to go with a simple early game, 2 tangos, Ring of Regen, Quelling Blade, and then build straight into the Helm of the Dominator, and then get a Necromonicon with boots thrown in at some point in this build. I like to go boots after the Helm of the Dominator. A lot of people don't like that, but it's been working very well for me. The slow on the boars is great. I know my timings. I know how strong my Necro is, my Dominator is. My Helm of the Dominator is if I get it right before the 10-minute mark. So that's my timing on this hero. I know that I want to get my Helm of the Dominator around slightly before the 10-minute mark if I can, and then if I can do that, it means that I can usually control the outpost, and then at that point it means that I can push the tier 1 tower, and then at that point it means that I can farm quicker around the map because I'm forced the enemy carry either back into the jungle into another lane, or I forced other heroes to rotate so I can back off a little bit, making space for my enemy carry. So I know that timing on this hero specifically because I've played him so many times. And then I know how to build into the Necromonicon. I know that if I get a Necro 3 by 18 minutes, I'm like dominating this game. I know if I get it by 25 minutes, I'm super far behind. And sometimes you're just looking at the things that the other players have done wrong, and that's all you're focusing on. And then afterwards, I know my timings for my Assault Cuirass. If that's the item that I'm going, I know that if I'm going for a pipe or a Blink Dagger, I should have Blink Dagger in here. I just haven't updated this, but I buy Blink Dagger on this hero a lot. It's great. But yeah, knowing your builds and item timings is very important, and it's something that you need to think about before the game starts. If you're starting a game and you don't know what build to select, go to the loadouts and check out some of the top builds in the list and see which one you think you want to go with, and then prepare yourself mentally for the game. Look at the draft, say these are the heroes that I'm playing against, this is what my teammates look like. All right, we're playing against a lot of magic damage this game. I'm gonna go ahead and buy a Helm of the or a Pipe of Insight. Or we're playing against a ton of physical damage. Maybe I'm going to get an Assault Cuirass, or I could even get a Crimson Guard, for example. So that's how you want to play your game. You want to think about it beforehand, and you want to think about your item timings. The more you play a hero, the more familiar you should get with the timings. It's very, very important, especially if you want to get better and gain MMR. And key point number 5 is don't play when you're tilted, and accept when you've lost, even if you played well. Now, let's say I did everything I talked about in terms of the builds and item timings on my Beastmaster. Let's say I got my Helm of the Dominator super fast. I took the tier 1 tower. I got my Necro 3 in record time. I got a Blink Dagger. I killed their core 10 times over, and we're ready to push the high ground. But our team just decides to do something like farm the jungle and not push, and my Slark is AFK in the brain, and my OD doesn't have any items for whatever reason, and we're just not doing things. You're gonna get so mad, and you're gonna think that, oh, there's no way to win Dota games. And sometimes some games are unwinnable. That is just a fact that you have to accept. Some games you can't win. Sometimes you actually are making mistakes that you don't realize. Let's say you played super well, but you did it at the expense of your teammates. Like, you didn't rotate to help their lanes when there was 5 people pushing into a tower, and you had the ability to rotate and turn the tides of a fight. Maybe that's something you just don't even know about, you didn't think about, and you lost your team the game where you didn't even know it. There's going to be games where you get tilted regardless of whether you did really well or you did really poorly. When you get really, really tilted, you need to take a break. And a good way to take a break, I would suggest, is by watching some Dota. If you want to keep playing but you don't, like, you're feeling too tilted, throw on the watch tab, go to one of these pro games, look at somebody, or pro game, one of these high rank games, look at somebody playing, watch it for a little bit. When you're feeling calmed down, when you're feeling like you're ready for your next game, just minimize it, click play Dota, queue up, and wait for the next game. But don't play when you're super tilted. You're going to take that negativity from the last game, you're going to bring it forward, you're going to overextend your plays, you're going to get mad at your teammates way too early, you're going to get yourself muted by everybody, and then when you get muted and you're tilted, you're just screaming at nobody. So that's not good for anybody. So that would be my last piece of advice. Number 5, tilt will lose you more MMR than almost anything. A lot of people just lose MMR because they're not mentally strong enough to keep their composure for a long period of time. So here's our recap. The 5 keys to climb out of any metal bracket in Dota 2. Number 1, decide what role you're going to play. Number 2, have a maximum of 3 heroes you'll play in each position and a minimum of 2. Number 3, add meta heroes to your hero pool. So let's say 2 of your heroes in the role that you like to play have like a 40% win rate or something terrible. Like, let's say you love Medusa. Medusa has been bad for a long time, even though they've been trying to buff her. You want to swap that hero for something that's a lot stronger right now, like I mentioned earlier, a Puck. Number 4, know your builds and your timings. It's very important. Think about it in the early game. Think about the game playing out, and think about like what your team needs to do in terms of winning the game. You're not going to always hit it. You're not going to be able to do it properly every time, but the more times you play a hero, the better you'll get at it. And number 5, last but not least, is don't play tilted and accept when you've lost, even if you've played well. Now, guys, thank you very much for tuning in to this video. I am Navitz. I'm representing my esports team, the Sploosh Troop. If you have any questions or comments or have any suggestions of your own, throw them in the section below. I would be happy to hear them. I will see you guys for my next video. Peace out.